Can hard work overcome natural talent when the hard worker can't use his most effective skill? This is Hammurabi. With the ability to gain planes in the ancient era, most people forget that the second part of this ability reduces your science by 50%. Now, in most cases, it really doesn't matter how much you decrease his science when you're launching hydrogen bombs against feudal lords. But I got to thinking, can you beat the hardest difficulty in Civilization 6 using Hammurabi's worst victory type without employing his special ability? The rules are simple. I can't declare war or take the cities of enemy civilizations. Loyalty capture is fine. And I have to win a science victory. While you might be thinking, that's easy, just get the Eurekas for the science buildings and overcome the debuff with sheer numbers. Well, that's not an option. You see, universities and research labs are locked behind 2 Eurekas that you normally can't rush out before other civs unlock them normally. Meaning that in addition to the 50% debuff, we are also going to be the last to obtain these 2 vital technologies. So can we work hard enough to overcome the massive advantages our enemies hold? At least our starting position isn't that bad, with good food and a river defending our southern flank. Let's hope no aggressive civilization is to our north. The biggest advantage we need to make use of is these plantations, which will give us enough gold to buy any civilian and military units we might find ourselves requiring. But that alone won't be enough to overcome a 50% debuff. What we need is a plan. After settling Babylon, I realized that in order to guarantee a win on deity, you typically need 8 to 10 cities. So if we increase that number by the 50% that's tanking our science, that should be enough to overcome the drawback. But settling about 15 cities is easier said than done. And with the AI's production bonuses and their 3 free settlers on turn 1, if we want 15 cities without conquering, we need to play this perfectly. Meaning we can't afford to get embroiled into any costly wars while the Ancestral Hall and feudalism need to be obtained ASAP. But those are civics unaffected by Hammurabi's abilities. For technologies, we need to obtain 3 boosts. The first is simply buying a trade route to unlock commercial hubs for more resources and gold. Fairly simple. The second is a little more difficult, being the need to kill a unit with a fragile slinger to research archery, while the third is going to be near impossible this game. Farm a resource to unlock palgums, the most disgusting building in the game that'll give us all the food we'll ever need. The issue is that there are no farmable resources near the capital, so it's going to be a long time before we are able to unlock them. For now, we do what you would do in any normal game, explore with our starting units, discovering tribal villages, and most importantly, barbarian encampments to kill the unit inside for archery. With the unlocking of discipline, our warrior weakens the unit, being careful not to kill it while we move our slinger into position. While the slinger gets hustling, our second warrior moves east before this game is changed forever, discovering one of the best wonders in the game, Tour de la Pain, doubling all adjacent tile yields and requires our immediate attention before anyone else gets to this high-value wonder. Soon after, the slinger arrives and kills the low-health spearman, giving us the first of the 3 vital Eurekas. At the same time, we meet the leader Chandragupta, and with how long it took us to meet another civ, it's safe to say that if we play perfectly, then we will have just enough room to settle all our needed cities. The issue is we still have no way of getting irrigation, but after pillaging the eastern camp, streamer luck for the win. And that luck just keeps coming, as after meeting Scythia in the west, we discover the rough borders of our empire as we seem to be in the southern reaches of this continent. And so all we have to do is settle the western frontier and we will get all the cities we need. But the first settler will go east simply because the wonder is too good to keep unsettled for long. This second city also provides the opportunity for us to buy a trader, granting us the third of our key Eurekas faster than we could have ever hoped for. This game is going almost too perfect. Hey, isn't Chandragupta a militaristic civ? With how unprepared we are for this fight, there's a good chance he just overwhelms us with sheer numbers, at least until we're able to get our 2 archers. So our warriors bravely hold the line until our first archer comes out to support from the back line. And that gives us just enough firepower to withstand until we come out with the second archer soon afterwards. And with the 2 of them firing every turn, we are able to save ourselves from disaster. But despite that fact, we are still outnumbered by about 3 to 1. However, with our ranged advantage trump card. Even after sending everything at our positions, we're able to hold the line. But not everything was going our way. Our third slinger is forced to pull back almost immediately. Meanwhile, our warrior is surrounded and is seconds away from death. We have to kill this warrior this turn to make sure we can bring our warrior back home alive. And with our plethora of archers, we managed to do just that. With the shattering of his forces, Chandragupta is in full retreat. We of course pursue them, and while our archers are taking damage on the front lines, we do manage to hunt down the survivors. But India is still outnumbering us by a significant amount. Nonetheless, we use the river line to defend against their second wave, managing to hold them back. But while we managed to survive up to this point, there is something that I fear. Something that even our famed archers can do little to stop. And that is India's unique unit. And when India forward settles the city of Hyderabad, I gaze upon a sight that my bowels can't hope to stay strong against. But despite our insurmountable foe, we have reinforcements of our own coming as Scythia has joined the fight, which itself leads to a declaration of friendship soon after. That will be the key to winning this game. And as for our first test with the elephants, it took everything we had just to take out one. Afterwards, our battered forces are forced to retreat when the Indians learn that they too could use archers, causing us to suffer our first casualty of the game. At the same time, we cannot forget about our foremost goal and seal the Indians off from encroaching on our territory any further. Now you might be asking why I would do something like that. A city that India can easily take for themselves, what with their superior firepower? Well, the answer is that our second archer that died was actually our third we upgraded from the previous low health slinger, and the Eureka for crossbowmen requires you to have 3 archers. These new bolted units proceed to eviscerate their forces, elephants and armored alike, and with the offensive now looking hopeless and a war against all fronts, India is finally forced to sue for peace. Not only did we survive with a healthy chunk of war reparations, but we are also able to settle all the choke points we needed to guarantee our 15 cities for this game. But now it's actually time to settle all those cities, and we have to do so fast because we are still massively behind technologically, and if we don't close the gap, then Sigma Gandhi will no doubt come back. But I've already prepared for that. During the war, I used a builder to chop out the ancestral hall, making new settlers cheaper to build and granting them a free builder on settle. Coupled with the fact that the entire South is available to only us, we enter a vicious cycle of chronic dopamine spikes. Settle a city, chop out a commercial hub, buy traders, send to capital, repeat. Through this profound advancement in economic theory, we are able to earn a lot of money. Even more so when we trade excess luxuries away to other leaders while buying their luxuries for cheap. These extra luxuries give us the juice we need to settle every city our heart desires. And this process is only further streamlined with feudalism, as serfdom allows all our cities to chop out 5 different tiles for an even quicker start and even faster districts. All these districts, cities, coupled with a few wonders, allows us to enter a golden age for even more gold from traders as our economy is booming, which we utilize to buy palgums, libraries, and more builders for even quicker development. And with the palgums in every city and all the food they provide, our cities were able to grow large enough to even force Hyderabad to rebel and eventually join our empire, making it now 14 cities. Finally reaching our goal in the next few turns as we achieve our goal of settling 15 cities. And so surely at this point, our 50% more cities than usual must mean that we overcame our 50% science penalty, right? Uh-oh. Despite taking every city we need, we are still at half the science of the leader. Not only that, but we are far behind even the world average. If something doesn't happen soon, we're screwed. And that something has to be the +5 amenities bonus, giving us a 20% boost to all yields, including science. And the only way to do that is to build the Colosseum. And so after guaranteeing it with an engineer charge, it was taken the very next turn. This is bad, but not fatal, as despite the fact we can't get +5 amenities, we still have an extra engineer charge, and so we can at least almost guarantee the Oxford University. But soon after using the charge for half Oxford's cost, it was taken too, putting us even further behind in tech. How are we supposed to come back when the civ's already ahead of us in technology? Use that advantage to keep getting further ahead. We need a trump card, and soon enough, we get it. While in most games, alliances are important, in this one, it's even more so. You see, for the entire game, I have continuously, same turn, re-allied with as many civs as possible for just one reason: insurance. In case Scythia refuses to re-ally, I would at the very least have 2 others I could count on to give me the significant boost. But what is that boost exactly? Well, right as we get the Great Zimbabwe, we obtain a Tier 2 alliance with Scythia, which gives us the Eureka and tech for research labs. And with all our gold saved up, we buy and build research labs, power plants, and CO2 goes to the moon, just like our science. We go to look at our science numbers, and for the first time in this entire game, we are leading the pack. But this won't last forever. While we have the lead, we need to use it and finish off this challenge, proving that skill always triumphs natural gifts. But we are on a timer, and need to get every tech we can before the AI wises up and realizes that they too can build research labs. And that is where the incredible production of Tor de la Pain comes in. Production we've been using this entire game to build up this city to the max. And coupled with Bengala's 30% boost to spaceship parts and the Ruhr Valley, a spaceport in less than 20 turns is just insane. But that's not all. With the further boost to communism, giving more production per population, as well as the collectivization policy card, we are able to rush through every space project in record time. But this game isn't going to be won that easily, especially when looking at the science screen and the fact that England has also launched the exoplanet expedition. This game will come down to the wire, and this stalemate is exactly where a scheming leader finally launched the plan he was working on for the last 200 turns. Yo, Dot, I got you. Soon after, we discover our off-world mission and waste no time in using both our insane production cities to continuously build our boosters in less than 2 turns each. So it shouldn't come as that big of a surprise when we absolutely dominate the closing stages of this game, winning a science victory despite the 50% debuff, proving that hard work can overcome natural talent, even with an arm tied behind your back.